أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I am going to talk on the subject of Isnad, because occasionally brothers write on Isnad. Well, I have got these books, 4 of them. So this is Usul Hadith by Ulumuhu wa Mus'alahuhu by Dr. Muhammad Aliyu Hatib, Dr. Muhammad Ajaj Hatib. This is by Ma'arifat Ulum al-Hadith by Naisaburi. This is Tadrib al-Rawi fi Sharh al-Taqrib al-Nawawi by Imam Suyuti. And this is Muqaddimat ibn Salah fi Ulum al-Hadith. So at least I know what I'm saying. Please, if you don't know, let us respect Islam. You must know before you begin to comment. Now, this book by Usul al-Fiqh al-Islam by Taha Jabir al-Alwani, on page 18 he phrased Umar ibn Khattab. And actually, I don't think Umar had a special gene above my own genetic dispensation. We are all created to understand Islam and obey Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to the letter. He said, Umar's understanding was comprehensive and he was possessed with good common sense. I don't have common sense, only Umar. Thus, he was quick to relate the particular to the general. I don't do that. And would pursue the ramification of an issue back to basic principles in order to see its wider implications. I can't do that. Now, again, Ali ibn Abi Talib, he was like Umar ibn Khattab in the way he understood and applied the texts of the Quran, and in his deep concern with linking particular issues to general principles. So, listen to me, please, and also give me my own rights. Isnad, if we still maintain that we must live according to the 34 years of Islam after the Hijrah, we have nothing to do with what happened after that. Why I would neglect this hadith of the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Because nobody has read it, or it's only a black man who's reminding you of it. 34 years, I have nothing to do after that, because there's confusion, assassinations, arrogance. But what of from day 1 to 34 years, the day Uthman was assassinated? Tell us the indiscipline, the confusion, disrespect, and self-assumptions. Definitely, they said, after the murder of Uthman ibn Affan, Ali ibn Abi Talib, all the Sahabas confessed that was the time they began to be sure that whoever narrates a hadith has in his mind the fear of Allah, the accountability, that he will be called to ascertain the truth. That was the time they began to neglect and disagree with what people were saying. So that was probably began after 35 years after Hijrah to today. So why are you going to be insisting on what was not in the time, the frame, approved, recommended, and agreed by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Why today, even today? So it's nothing. What is our interest in Isnad today? Isnad is, you know about the narrators. How many of them? 120,000? How many of them? Sahabas 120,000. Why do you know where they were? You don't know where they were. What of the students of the Sahabas? You don't know where they were. Simply because you are relying because of your lack of faith and the ability to know the truth. The principle is, this is the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I have the right to obey it according to my own circumstances. Nobody should ever dictate on me. How many of us today recite Surah Al-Baqarah 189 verses in the first raka'ah and 186 verses 81 in the second raka'ah, 81 or 79 in the second raka'ah? How many recite Surah Al-Imran? How many recite Surah Al-Yusuf? Jawar Maghrib, Jawar Fajr prayer. So what are you telling us? We have the right to exercise. Then I don't say that I am better than anybody else. It is my own knowledge and the faith. Your own is different from my own. How many of us recite Surah Al-Muhammad or Surah Al-Qaf in Zuhur prayer? And you say I'm not as equal to a Sahaba? That is rubbish. Isnad is something which is dangerous because it leads to an-namima, backbiting, and telling lies. Say this Sahaba is weak. Did you witness? Where were you? How can we agree that that Sahaba who was described as weak was actually weak? I'll be called to account for such kind of rubbish. So what I'm trying to impress and argue is that we have nothing to do with Isnad today. The Isnad depends upon your depth of knowledge. As I said, I have read all these 4 books. You have never read probably a single one. So what is your concern with the narrator? You have nothing to do with it. And the Sahabas insisted, wherever you find the truth, follow it. Don't ask questions. Look at this nonsense that you don't listen to the Jews. Despite them having accepted Islam, I think about 34 of them accepted Islam. We said Jews are our enemies in Islam. Where? While there are so many, they led us to victory, the Jews. Without them, how could Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam succeeded? Who would have invited him to Medina? So let us please understand. Our problem is we are enslaved. I have been to Europe since 1977. I know Britain very well. Liverpool, that's where I first stayed. And I roam around. So please let us respect ourselves. Let us look at our environment and who we are before we start talking about Islam. Islam needs respect. It must be people who have the ground in a society, but not to be recognized by that particular society, but they are confident of themselves and they have got a base. They are the ones to talk about Islam and nobody else. You must have the opportunity to live comfortably, but not just grasping. You can't even buy a book, a single book in a year to read. Even this downloading, you don't have the time because your environment is not conducive to reading at night. So please let us respect ourselves. We have nothing to do with Islam. Let us understand the Sunnah practically and apply it. We have seen so many rubbish, innovations, nobody talks about it, but only on irrelevancies. What is the benefit? My brothers, Let us respect knowledge, please. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and the Sahabas. Assalamu alaikum.